You should see it.
I'm too infinite, 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 infinite. Globe is in my home, the globe is in my home. Telling me the globe is my home, the globe is in my home, the globe is in my home. I'm too infinite, I'm too infinite, I'm too infinite. And I'm killing it, I'm killing it, I'm drilling it. And I said, it's fake as shit. Yeah, I was in the basement. Now I'm in the spaceship. Cause it's fake shit. Got on my camera. And I got in the Challenger. I'm smashing the actress. Cause that's all that NASA is. Space isn't real. The stars are a spirit. And I'm trying to do it real. I'm killing it. Space is so fake. Nobody can relate. So infinite, yeah. I'm so infinite, 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 infinite. Oh, 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 I'm so infinite. Different, definite, yeah. Knowledge.
Ahead of the curve. I mean, look, the other day, the Fakeologist, who I like, great channel. I was looking at some of his comments because sometimes I do look over people's shoulders. I may not be commenting, but I happen to see what people write because I'm interested in people and what they think and their opinions. And so I saw that he had opined on a certain video about this channel, and he said, I love the Infinite Plane Society, but they go too far with the mask thing. And that's where I'm saying, anytime you hear that you're going too far, you probably need to double down and go further, faster. Just dive right in. Oh, don't look at flat earth, that's going too far. Don't look into crisis actors, that's going too far. Don't question the news, it's going too far. Don't change religions, it's going too far. Don't switch up your coffee. Everything that you change in your life, there's going to be people saying, don't do it, don't do it. So what you see here is an article that just came out, and this is what I'm showing you. If you were in our Discord server, you would have known about her and her work. You would have watched her stuff a year ago. CIA's former chief of disguise, Jonah Mendez, on how to hide spies. An article about her just came out today in a few different papers where they're saying she's dropping the mask. And the point I want to bring out here is that the spies that they use in various parts of the world have masks that are 100% foolproof. And this has been kept out of the public's knowledge for a long time. And when you really think about what this means is you have been deepfaked on so many levels with no idea. Just like you would imagine that once people figure out this deepfake technology and they can manipulate videos and make anybody do anything, once they have literal, puppeteering capabilities where they can frame anybody, put somebody where they weren't or whatever, it compromises everything. This is meant to compromise it's said that deep fakers will compromise our political system, that people won't know what's real or what's fake. This is a big thing. It's been hyped up. A lot of popular commenters and intellectuals are speaking on what deep faking means for reality. So here's an interesting little quote here. This is from Jordan Peterson. Now, Jordan Peterson is, here we go, one of these popular blue pillars, doesn't know about the psyops, but listen to this. The deepfake artists must be stopped. Anytime I see people saying artists must be stopped, I'm like, okay, what? What you got to? Who do you have to silence? What artists do you need to stifle? What kind of blasphemies are we protecting against now? The deep fake artists must be stopped before we no longer know what's real. He says, I can tell you from personal experience how disturbing it is to discover a website devoted to making fake audio clips of you, for comic purposes or otherwise. The sanctity of your voice and your image is at risk. Anyway, this is discussed at length, a lot of different perspectives on what this means, but what he says here is that this is one of the most disruptive technologies that could have emerged. And this is the general view on it. This is a coming threat. But my point is, it's already been here since we've had a CIA, since we've had OSS. It's been here since the 40s. They can fake things perfectly. And the idea here is that the use of masks to subvert reality, the use of fake, not just masks, when we say fakes, we mean it's the face, it's the hands, it's the voice, it's the background story. We're talking about fabricated, non-existent individuals inserted onto the world stage. She says, it may be enough to conceal who people were when they walk out of the embassy at the end of the day so no one follows them home, sees where their house is or where their family lives. But disguises used by the agency could involve the typical props, but more sophisticated techniques have evolved. Quote, we have people who have chemistry backgrounds who evaluate materials for us and who have invented materials for us. After modeling some disguises on Hollywood masks, which were usually made of latex, the CIA sought out better techniques. Latex masks were uncomfortable, they didn't breathe well. We chased after other materials that could animate, which were more breathable, that were easier on, easier off. Hair posed a similar problem. Anyway, she goes into detail about how they create these foolproof masks, and in one of her anecdotes, she describes how in a room full of Saddam Hussein's, she didn't know which one of the 6 was the real one. I mean, none of them were, I don't imagine, but the point is, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So this is one example of where we've been looking into something that a lot of people who even auto-hoax the media, who don't trust the history, who call out the daily BS, they think we go too far when we say that this particular well-known celebrity persona might actually be playing another role. Or this person who died on the world stage, who was said to have been killed in the newspapers, is still alive, and this is this person now. These are not so extraordinary claims. Like, here's an example. Here's an example from one of our live streams earlier this month. Actually, the last live stream I did before my YouTube channel was taken down, we were talking about Kevin Booth. And he's a very interesting character in this context. So Kevin Booth was the producer of Bill Hicks. Before Bill Hicks died, he gave a script to Kevin Booth. The script said, basically, I'm going to play the role of this Rush Limbaugh-like right-wing character who goes too far and ends up getting shot by one of his fans or someone he pisses off. So he hands this script over to Kevin Booth, his producer, and then Bill Hicks dies. He gets 33 cancers or whatever. Well then, out of the blue, Alex Jones emerges. Covers many of the same issues. Kind of has a lot of overlap if you look at the early Alex Jones days, but his producer is Kevin Booth. So we already knew who Kevin Booth was, because if there's anybody in the know about the Hicks to Jones transition, it would be Booth, possibly his handler. Definitely in on the joke. No doubt about it. So this is an email I received from someone through autohoax.com. They said to me, you need to look into Eric Mankel Mueller. Now, Eric Mankel is a right-wing shock jock type. Just basically, I guess you'd place him a little bit less conspiratorial than Alex Jones. Kind of a morning show thing. Definitely unlistenable. But Mancow is a consistent guest on the Alex Jones network, on the InfoWars thing. He's been there for years. So I get this email from someone who says that they believe that Mancow is actually Kevin Booth wearing a goofy mask with the dark hair, the goatee, and the thick glasses. That Kevin Booth, and look, it would make sense if you, I mean, when you look at it in context, that they would all be a part of the same little program. So here's what he wrote me. He said, "It appears to me that Kevin Booth is playing the role as Eric Mancow. They look identical. His production company is called Sacred Cow Productions. His second name, Booth, raises a flag with me. Maybe it's the acting dynasty, John Wilkes Booth." So this is someone who wrote me before about how a lot of these psyops appear to be carried out by elitists. That it's just not regular people becoming crisis actors. It's the son of FBI agents, people like David Hogg. So Mancow has been a frequent guest on the Alex Jones / Bill Hicks show, and he's friends with Booth. Well, here's what got my attention. What got my attention was I found audio of Mancow and Alex Jones, and they had the strangest conversation. In fact, I'm going to have to play it for you because I don't want to lose anyone here. Because we're talking about deep fakes in the context of Mendez, Jonah Mendez, and the CIA, talking about what is actually possible. Now, here's the strangest thing, and this has been debunked. This is what's so interesting about this one. I think they gave away the game here. So Eric Mancow Mueller, who we suspect is Kevin Booth, is hanging out with Alex Jones. Oh, the video's down. This video wasn't down when I covered it about a month ago. Luckily, that live stream has been saved. Look, they're burning books all around. Damn. Okay, well, anyway, here's what it is. So, Mancow was hanging out with an actor known as Harry Lennox. And this is right before the second time Obama was elected. So Eric Mancow's hanging out with this guy, and this guy says to Mancow, according to Mancow, "Hey, by the way, do I seem familiar to you?" And Mancow's like, "What do you mean?" And this guy's like, "Well, I am Obama." This guy actually tells this radio host that he's Obama in confidence. Here's the actual quotes. He says, "Well, do I remind you of him? Barack Obama is me. You've seen me on TV. You've seen me. He is me." Mancow tells Lennox, this is the thing. I'm trying to keep this concise. So this guy is Henry Lennox, hanging out with Mancow, tells Mancow he is Obama. So what Mancow thinks of this whole conversation, he walks away thinking, wait, you taught Obama how to act? Is that what it is? So Mancow, confused, supposedly, goes on to Alex Jones, and he reports on this, and he says, yeah, the strangest thing, I'm hanging out with Henry Lennox, and he claims that he trained Obama to behave presidentially, that this was Obama's acting coach. But his verbiage, to me, says, I am Obama, which is just bizarre. So I look in here, and it's on Metabunk. During an appearance on the Alex Jones show, Eric Mancow reveals that Harry Lennox told him in confidence he was hired to train Obama to look presidential. Lennox was born in Chicago, grew up in Chicago, and gave lectures before he became an actor. His best role was White House Chief of Staff in the ABC series Commander-in-Chief. Mueller, who knew Obama in Chicago before he became president. See, I didn't know this. I didn't know that Mancow knew Obama. Said that Lennox told him that he was the actor hired to teach Obama. Barack is me. You've seen me on TV. Anyway, this is on Metabunk, where they actually go through the videos, which most of them have been removed, which is just bizarre. And they say it's not true. Obama would not have associated with this guy. So, basically what it becomes is a very weird story. Here's Mick West. Mick West says This is a weak story because there's no indication of what Lennox actually said or if he was being serious. There's a lot of setup here. There's a lot of ancillary nonsense and speculation. In short, it looks like Mancow is deliberately putting a spin on Lennox joking about being Obama. No evidence of anything here. So when Mick West says no evidence of anything here, it means look behind the curtain or look behind the silicone hyper-realistic mask. Because, yeah, this guy, in all likelihood, is wearing one of these foolproof masks. So, anyway, this morning, I go onto Twitter because I had actually been tweeting Mancow for a couple of months now because he owes Mad Mike $2 million. So, Mad Mike Hughes, if you don't know, real Rocket Man, before he did his rocket launch, he was going on various radio shows, just basically saying, hey, I'm going to launch a rocket, I'm going to prove the Earth flat or round, but first I'm going to launch this steam powered rocket. If you go to realrocketman.com, you can watch the whole thing. He did it, but before he did the launch, he had spoken to Mancow. And Mancow said, okay, Mike, if you actually get yourself into that home built steam powered rocket and you blast yourself a few thousand feet into the air, I will use my platform to raise you $2 million to pay for the balloon and the helium on your Raccoon. So after that conversation, Mike does the launch and he tries to get a hold of Mancow. No response. Mancow Mueller, who might be Kevin Booth, is dodging Mad Mike. So I wrote him on 1111 and I said, hey, you owe Mad Mike $2 million, bro. No response. So then today, this morning, I texted him again. I said, Kevin Booth, is that you? No response. A lot of them don't respond, I noticed. Anyway, look at this. This is Mancow. This is Sacred Cow, which looks like Baphomet. It looks like Moloch. It looks like the devil, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, think about this too. Alex Jones is the guy who supposedly sneaked into Bohemian Grove. No way. Jones slash Hicks, friends with Charlie Sheen, whose dad is a Jesuit and a member of the Bohemian Grove. No way. He probably went there every Sunday for barbecues. No way he snuck in. And of course, Kevin Booth. And then this is the Mancow. So this is the type of masks we're talking about. This is a regular face. You can all see it. You see the lines, see the nuance, the creases, the imperfections. And this is what you would expect to see in a deep fake, where the mask goes over the whole face, it actually encompasses the neck, and it goes under the shirt. They usually use glasses to hide because the eyes are so deep set that that's what normally gives it away. Let me show you an example of how deep set this guy's eyes look in a closer up picture. Well, always covered. I mean, look, tell me this isn't a CIA disguise. The hat, the glasses, the facial hair, looks like the damn Unabomber. And then the bricks. Anytime I see bricks, I just immediately think, masony. Very masony. Now here's a few other interesting things too that kind of tie into this. So Andrew Breitbart, if you read Breitbart News, or if you know about Breitbart, the guy who founded it was assassinated supposedly, or he died in 2012. Andrew Breitbart claimed that he had videos of Barack Obama obtained by, man, where did he get these videos from? He said they were videos from like the 80s or the 90s, and it had to do with Barack Obama being at some kind of communist meetup. Here we go. Here's Andrew Breitbart. And before he could basically blow the whistle, he dies. How convenient, right? So convenient. They made a political martyr out of him, and I believed he was dead. When he died, I thought it was legit. I was like, how did this happen? Dies at 43. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Breitbart staged death. We looked into it later, found out that this was another death faker. And funnily enough, a lot of these death fakers, like Bill Hicks, a lot of them are entertainers or comedians. So it is. This is where it gets a little rabbit holey. So this is Andrew Breitbart, and this is Andrew or Andy. Let me bring up Andy Kaufman. This is absurd on the face of it, I have to admit. But then when you look at the timelines, it all adds up. And you look at the characters, it all adds up. So Andy Kaufman, suspected death faker, said he was going to come back in 20 years. 20 years after this guy dies, Andrew Breitbart shows up. Here you have another comedian becoming a political agitator. Another actor, comedian becoming an agitator. They all do it. Someone says, Unearther says, didn't Breitbart die rollerblading? No, he didn't die rollerblading. He was having wine at a restaurant, walks out, falls on the sidewalk. But he was rollerblading at the time to throw people off because they had to diminish the appearance of his age by about 10 years for this to work. So he acted young. And the key word here is acted. He acted young, rollerblading, always doing drugs and partying. No, he was ready to retire when he fake died. It was just one great act. He was a provocateur. He was the one who exposed Anthony Weiner's wiener, that whole thing. So my point is this. So Death Faker comes back, fakes his death again. And so now we're talking about this. Mueller, who may be Kevin Booth, friends with Alex Jones, he puts out a story where Mancow Mueller is saying that Alex Jones was behind the assassination of Andrew Breitbart. You see how this works? So behind the scenes, they all know each other. And like, okay, well, this guy kills this guy. Oh, my character is involved in your death? It's a damn movie being played out, just like the rappers do with their fake deaths. You know, Tupac, Biggie, fake rap beef, fake deaths, and they get another gig somewhere else later. Same crap. And again, this comes from Eric Mankel Mueller kind of theorized about this, and others have talked about it. And without getting too far into all of that, listen to this. Mueller said he was speaking with Breitbart every other day about a TV show he had lined up on a major network. This would, quote, bring the House of Cards down. The information Breitbart had would destroy Barack Obama forever. It's over, said Mueller. And again, Mueller knew Obama in Chicago. We just found out today, Eric Mankel Mueller used to know Obama. And then he's the one who said in this weird article debunked by Metabunk that Henry Lennox knew Obama, taught him how to act while saying he was Obama. Like, look, we're talking about a deep fake comedy show. He says, everybody feels the same way. This guy was murdered, said Mancow, who attended Breitbart's funeral. He pointed out the fact that Breitbart's death was explained as, quote, natural causes by the media before any investigation. A guy goes for a walk in the middle of the night. He's about to launch a big website and bring down the House of Cards on Obama, and then he dies. Mueller said his family and friends were urging him to quit, fearing that this was a warning shot and that Limbaugh might also be in danger. Breitbart gave speeches throughout CPAC conferences where he said he had video of Obama fraternizing with a bunch of silver ponytails like Bill and Bernadine Dorn. Oh, Bill Ayers. Well, it was actually Bill Ayers who supposedly gave Breitbart the videos, which makes you think, okay, well, he was set up or something. Anyway, conspiracy theory, he was murdered. Truth is, that's a rabbit trail. He's not dead, just a second fake death. Andrew Breitbart is alive, and so is Isaac Cappy, and so is Seth Rich. I mean, so many of these political martyrs, rappers, rockers, musicians, who die in these very public ways, they're actually just exiting the world stage. It's really that simple. Now, if you have any doubts, let me show you something here. I'm not going to taint your perceptions. I watched this little bit from 60 Minutes, and it was with a psychologist who is a specialist on human memory. And she said, I can show you a Disneyland advertisement that has Bugs Bunny in there, even though he's a Warner Brothers character. And then later in the day, if you're queried about who you met at Disneyland, you might easily say you met Bugs Bunny. And it's because of the way that memories are associated and the way you recall them, they can throw a memory into the mix. And then your short term thinking, your confabulating left brain thinking, will piece it together really fast for you. So we're all basically hardwired for confabulation and storytelling and learning. Is this what learning is? You're giving hypotheticals to yourself and then hitting Control S. You're saving in your head. And so false memories can be implanted. So I'm not going to tell you anything other than
Thank you very much.
this is Alex Jones years ago. See what you guys think. I'll give you a few seconds of him.
You're fucking lying. I'm in transit, baby. I've got a destiny.
Okay. So anyway, this is a video of Alex Jones from 86 or so. You can see it in his face. Now, when I first watched this, I wasn't told it was Bill Hicks. I was told it was Alex Jones, and I fell for it. I was like, oh, it is Alex Jones. You know, what I'm saying here is that if you are not prepped in advance and told you're going to see Bill Hicks, you'd probably default to Alex Jones because you've seen more of him, and this is the Alex Jones look, not the classic Bill Hicks look with his final appearances and interviews. He has the long hair and the beard and the glasses. And that's also part of this thing. And this is what Jonah Mendez talks about when it comes to disguise. You try to create an extreme duality, polar opposites. So before he exits the stage as Bill Hicks to become Alex Jones, who looks like this, just a little older, they said, okay, grow out your hair, grow out your beard, smoke, wear glasses. You know, you have to change so that when you switch to the new person, nobody would put you together. Yeah, that bottom lip quiver. You see that? Yeah, there's nuances in his, I would call them micro expressions. Micro expressions are what give it away. Bottom lip, the way his eyes move up, his character voices. You can actually prove this case without even looking at pictures. You can do it with just audio. In fact, you know who actually figured this one out? And I know they did this as a joke, but if you remember, there was this guy on Fox for a long time. He was always crying. What was his name? Glenn Beck. Yeah, Glenn Beck. So Glenn Beck's sidekick actually did a side-by-side comparing Jones to Hicks, and he made a great case. And I'll probably play that at some point. I mean, I don't really want to focus on this one because we're always looking at the bigger picture and what the pattern happens to be. And the pattern does happen to be these deepfakes are being used as political agitators in the media, in alternative media specifically, but who knows? They're probably all over. I mean, look, you have Nicole Simpson, who fake died in a very provocative race war psyop. And that's the underlying purpose to these things. It's all about division. So she fake dies, comes back as the face of Fox News, where she can just race bait for a living, where she can agitate for a living. I mean, it's the same gig. CIA all the way. Agitators. Commenter says, wonder if facial recognition can detect the deepfakes. Last night we talked about this. In fact, I have a few articles we went over last night about this facial recognition technology and how, yeah, there are people using masks. I have one here, I think, linked up, where they do fool these. They do fool the software. Now, this isn't a deep fake. It looks like Hillary Clinton's just running out of adrenochrome. That's why she needs to get back into office really quick. Here it is. Futurism.com. Hackers duped facial recognition mask. Yeah, this is the one. They did dupe the systems with this mask, which they call creepy. This is from Futurism.com. Decent site. Here's a